Welcome back, everyone, to LCS Academy. Game number 2 unfolding right now. It's going to be CLG Academy versus FlyQuest Academy. A lot of domination coming out of FlyQuest Academy in that game number 1.
There was. We only saw a couple bright moments coming out from CLG where they turned to dive in the bottom lane and RJS had a solo kill, but after that it felt like it was all FlyQuest all the time, and we'll get to see a little bit of that. This is the play where they turned things around, where Palafox and Dreams maybe went a bit deeper than they needed to and got punished for their hubris, but after that, I mean, it ends up being a situation where FlyQuest are showing they're the better mid-game team and always making proactive plays.
Oh man, the one thing that really popped out to me with the way FlyQuest played is just how proactive they were. They were always going for plays, just like that. They repeated that play over and over right out of their playbook. Just come behind the tower and dive the mid laner. It was so hard for RJS to have to deal with that, even when he was getting advantageous situations like that solo kill you were talking about on Johnson. It was just way too much torture. And this one, of course, this one was... this is the Scooby-Doo laugh, right, Joshi? This is right.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, Palafox goes very deep, does take the stun, but the big thing that I want to highlight is that every single time Jose Dioto's flash was up, he used it almost immediately to jump on the enemy team. You know, it doesn't really matter to him who he jumped on. We saw him jump on even Keel and Hooks with his ultimate. He just wants to get the damage down. And as long as his flash is up, it just means his engage range is that much longer. So that kind of proactivity and just being able to accept it's like, yeah, pretty much every fight we take is going to be winning is just so freeing to the rest of the team.
And this play right here was... oh, this was pristine. This was just ruthless. Using that Gore Drinker beautifully, getting all that AoE damage. Look at the heal! Oh my goodness.
It's one of those things where I actually talked to a couple people recently about the difference between like a 10-second cooldown versus like an 8-second cooldown. It's not that large of a difference, right? But it's the difference between being able to use it once in a fight and twice in a fight, right? Because most fights don't take that long. Having the 8-second cooldown means that you can typically use it once at the beginning and once a little bit later for maximum effectiveness, like we saw with that Gordon.
So, I'm wondering what we need to see different out of CLG. I honestly was a decent fan of their composition. It just felt like FlyQuest drafted a comp where they just wanted to continuously make plays regardless of the stage of the game. The question is going to be, how do CLG look to deal with something like that?
Honestly, the biggest thing I can think of is it's kind of an individual difference in a lot of places, right? Like, Palafox was able to really play very effectively despite the fact that he found himself a little bit behind in terms of CS. Philip going up against Viego, you know, this is a counter pick that we've often seen in both directions, right? It's something that both players have to be pretty familiar with at this point. So, it feels like something where it's just CLG kind of getting outperformed individually, and unfortunately there's not a fast solution to that. You just kind of have to up the variance and hope that you perform and execute properly.
Yeah, all the plays we did see come out of CLG where they were able to get nit wins, a lot of the times it was off of FlyQuest doing the play, starting the play. I would hope to see more proactivity out of CLG when it comes to these future plays, but it kind of starts with success in the lanes. You had Tien fall apart over to Philip very early on. You talked about Palafox and RJS. The only hope was really Katsuri and Hooks, but they weren't exactly on play-making champions when they're going against a Kalista set duo.
It's simply so scary because the amount of damage that's going to be coming out from the Kalista, right? Typically, you look at Varus and Leona as having a very strong wake-up at level 6, but by the time that came around, Kalista and Set were already in such firm control of the lane that it kind of didn't matter. And then without that, you kind of need opportunities to create plays for yourself later on, but CLG didn't really go for any. I think the only one that we saw was them trying to go for the Rift Herald, and then FlyQuest was like, nah, hold on. We're going to bring more family members here, and you're going to have to leave, okay? This is our spot.
And that play hurt me so much to watch inside. Just immediately having to forfeit like 1k health left on the Rift Herald. But that's the type of play FlyQuest were able to do. That's the type of pressure they were able to put on the map when they were able to get those early leads. I was talking about a lot of star players that did stand out. Jose Dioto, you were mentioning the whole flash thing. His aggression was insane. His momentum was insane. Really, the way FlyQuest set up that vision and denied it so heavily from CLG gave him so many windows of opportunity to just engage freely as he wanted.
I want to see more of that from Jose Deodo, right? I mean, there's a reason why this team is coming down and is still having so much success, despite the fact that the Academy roster that we previously saw is now having success in LCS. It's simply because this roster is still, a lot better than a lot of the Academy rosters. Palafox said he's the best mid laner in Academy, and it's hard to find somebody that's like, yeah, this person is definitely better than them. So it's a pretty easy opportunity when you have some of the strongest individual players to find success.
Yeah, and, not just Palafox, Jose Deodo himself, the first player to be imported to a major region from Latin America. The dude's a superstar. He was hyped up the moment he came here. There's so much star power on the side of FlyQuest Academy. It does feel like they are an LCS team that was brought to Academy, but they are a team that's willing to fight to try and get position back.
It makes sense. I know the Twitch chat is going crazy talking about Jose Deodo. Just seeing him having success is something that the Latin American community loves, because he is very popular player, and he's good. He's like very good at what he does. So I think that this FlyQuest roster is probably looking to take this 2-0, but still holding out hope. Just because my brain says one thing doesn't mean my heart doesn't want to say something else. I just really want to see Rebel shave.
And I mean, I could see it going to a 1-1, just because not any huge analysis thing where we're gonna break down this like super technical whatever. No. Just CLG are unpredictable sometimes. Sometimes you really don't know when they're going to show up and just steal away that win. As we do head into the draft, CLG Academy, FlyQuest Academy, CLG already eliminated from playoffs contention, just fighting for better seeding once they get into the Proving Ground circuit.
Staying on the same sides as well, and notice their scores are mirrored: 8 and 23 for CLG, 23 and 8 for FlyQuest. As we are seeing a little bit of shifts in terms of the bans. The Renekton taken off the table for Philip. He was a bit too proactive with that, a bit too effective, so Tien does not want to go up against it again.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that's changed so far, but again, we're really early into the draft, and no reason to even really speak about that. Staying on the same sides for both squads. Looking to run it back. Zig's going to be taken off the map for the time being. For CLG, they did put a lot of priority onto the Viego early. I'd be wondering if they go for that again, or if they want to prioritize something else. I know they do like the Xin quite a bit. They like the Gwen quite a bit as well.
I mean, all these champions are very popular. A lot of teams like to play them. Unfortunately, Tien wasn't really able to leverage the Viego particularly well, like we've seen in some other games. And so now, with both the Gwen and the Viego still available, I have to imagine like FlyQuest are probably can either ban one, give the other away, or they can leave both of them up and try and get one of them in return. So they have a little bit of an interesting choice here if they perceive them as the two strongest champions. Zig's already taken off, one of my other favorites in the meta right now. They're going to be taking away Gwen, and we're probably going to see a Viego repeat pick.
Yeah, nope. Instead, going straight for the Aurelia. That was left up and banned on the side of CLG in the last game. So happy to grab that one, but the response out of FlyQuest right away. They heard you talking. They know about the Viego. They want to grab it. Hovering the Fiddlesticks. That got me really excited for just a second. I believe only Schernfire and Kill play the Fiddlesticks. So if I could see a Fiddlesticks game off a Kill, I'd be so excited.
Doesn't even matter if they win or lose at that point. We just get to see the Fiddlesticks. It's so uncommon professional play. One of those deep pocket picks that you always have to be ready to pull out. All of these things that they've been hovering so far would be rather surprising to me. So I'm going to focus on the Viego and Diana that have been picked up, because these are very brawly champions already coming through, and they will have opportunities to try and get on top of Kalista. We've already seen how aggressive Jose Deodo is up against Gatsuri.
Yeah, so Kalista getting locked in for Katsuri. It does flip the table a little bit to try and grant some aggression over to CLG Academy when it comes to the bot lane. You are going to need to pair that with pretty solid support. Nautilus is left on the table, but so is Leona. They want to go for their support route right now. Support pool will get choked out quite a bit otherwise, but nope. Going to go for the Sejuani, something tried, true, and tested for CLG that they just really do enjoy.
I really like the Irelia plus the Sejuani, right? You're able to stack up that Permafrost really quickly as a melee champion and really get that stun a lot faster than you would if it was a ranged solo laner that you're playing with. But the set coming through is very good at just yeeting the Sejuani out of the fight, and because they tend to build a lot of HP, are going to be able to do a lot of damage to people in the backline as well. So very heavy brawling, very short range compositions currently coming out from both sides, and so the big question is going to be, is FlyQuest going to be picking up any primary engage? Because they have a lot of secondary engage, but they're kind of waiting for CLG to find something, or they're reliant on finding points.
I'm really wondering what CLG are going to do with their lanes when it comes to this next matchup. Aurelia can go into either lane, but so can Sejuani. This is something that CLG have flexed around before. They have put TN in the top lane on Sejuani, so it doesn't mean it's automatically relegated over towards that jungle role. Still a lot of flexibility coming out of CLG as more bans do come through.
Right, I think it's a kind of a tough sell for me to put Tien on the Sejuani. Like, I understand that it is something that you can do, right? We've been seeing Ignite, teleport Sejuani get a little bit of play, but it's not the easiest thing to pilot, and it's not the easiest thing to carry on, right? And I feel like they've been one of the major players when this team actually finds success, and FlyQuest going to be banning away the Silas, mostly from RJS, and the Camille, still not expecting the Sejuani to be going to the top.
So one more ban to come out from CLG Academy before we head into that second phase of the draft, and hopefully start seeing picks where we get to get Rebel Fox to shave his head. Still
not letting you live that down, dude.
I'm not gonna let it down. I'm not gonna let it down. CLG just one win, man. One win, and he gets to join the Bald Bros.
There's a lot of them in the caster crew, right?
It's Kangas, myself.
That's a lot. Very powerful people, as we got the Aphelios coming through as well. A little bit more long range coming up for FlyQuest, but it obviously depends on what guns you're going to be using at the time. So I do like this idea, because as long as there's a brawl going on in the rest of the fight, you can do a lot of damage if you have really almost any combination of guns, simply because you either have the range, can't be touched, or you have like the flamethrower and chakrams and just do a ton of damage at close range.
So the response coming out of CLG Academy is going to be hovering the Akali for the time being. I mean, you do have some pretty good frontline, a lot of disruption to try and help this Akali be as much of a panic to deal with for FlyQuest as possible, and it is going to be locked in. So Akali going to see the rift. That is most definitely relegating Sejuani to jungle. Why you got to ruin my dreams, Joshi? One more pick to come in.
It's not my fault.
Academy. Try to choose between their tanky, supporty, beefy boys.
Yeah, I mean, these do pretty similar things, regardless of which one you pick. Leona is not being hovered, though, which is a little bit surprising to me. And we've seen a little bit of rel play come out yesterday. But there's still a lot of champions that are available. I really like the Leona in particular as a response, as well as the Alistar, who was kind of the classic response to when rel was the most meta pick in the game. And we'll see which one they choose to opt for. I believe Dreams has a lot more Leona games in particular, and it does create a lot more opportunities for damage, and also gives you primary engage that's a little bit easier to land than something like the Alistar will bring. But instead, they're going to pivot pretty heavily and bring out the Braum.
Yeah, bring out the defensive frontliner who can also engage as well. Still a very similar role to what Leona does, just a little bit more defensive in their approach more than anything else. And given how aggressive the rest of this comp is going to go, there's not going to be too much to defend the Aphelios. So having the Braum there will help out once they do get towards those team fight scenarios.
I do like this Braum pickup, because it can take not only the Irelia ultimate, but also the Sejuani ultimate, and it will really limit some of the big ultimate usages from CLG Academy, whereas if they had gone with the Leona, yeah, you can still tank these things, but it's going to be a little different how they're going to be interacting. Braum is going to also be very excited about all the auto attackers on his team, because it means that his passive becomes very, very scary, not only during team fights, but also in a potential level 1 invade.
Yeah, very scary to have to deal with when you're wanting to jump in and you instantly get stunned up thanks to those concussive blows. But also, the engage out of CLG Academy still makes me quite happy to see with what they can bring to the Rift in this game, because, both Rel and Sejuani are excellent engagers, and you have great follow-up coming through, as well as great damage for the early to mid game. I do see some light coming out of CLG Academy. Maybe it's just me being hopeful that Rebel Fox shaves his head, but the draft so far isn't a disappointment whatsoever.
I like their draft. Now it's all about execution. They didn't make a lot of proactive plays in game 1, whereas FlyQuest was, the only time where we saw a CLG really getting anything was when FlyQuest went a little bit too far. So now that they have the tools, we need to see them use it. I hope they can get something and at least get a competitive game on the books as they go up against the number 1.
So again, this game, not really the high-stakes one we had from the last one with the EG versus Immortals. CLG standing at last place right now. You can see the mirrored score lines between CLG and FlyQuest that Yoshi's been bringing up.
Woo.
rough position for CLG to be in now that they are completely eliminated from playoffs contention. FlyQuest, for me, I think at this point it's just trying out new things, seeing what you can get away with, but don't want to be too fruitful with something like that. Can still lose that first place spot. They are locked off for playoffs itself. They don't have that first seed locked in.
True, true. I mean, if you just think you're the best, then you can just make a run from anywhere in playoffs. So we'll see what FlyQuest ends up doing. I'm still expecting them to win this game. I like CLG's composition a little bit better, but it's not such a large difference that I think FlyQuest is, you know, playing from a massive deficit or something. It's not like they are entirely 80 stacked and Sejuani is just like building armor or anything like that. They still have the Diana on the team, which can wombo all these squishy members.
Backing away is going to be Palafox over in the mid lane. But taking a look at the standings one more time. Just because FlyQuest, with the schedule they have coming up, it is some, you know, a little bit of the middle line competition. It is someone who's going to bring them a challenge, having both Team Liquid and Evil Geniuses go against. But these are teams that do realistically have a chance to overthrow them if they don't get this outright win right now. So FlyQuest do want to take this somewhat seriously to be able to get that better seeding for playoffs, get that first place spot, always the juiciest. Gotta be careful about it.
Okay, well, it's a little bit tough right now for CLG to do anything as we're paying attention to how the first clear is going. There is a ward here. I'm not sure if it's spotted Heal on his way over, but it is a situation where he is going to get spotted now, so FlyQuest will know exactly what's going on in terms of the pathing. You see 3 camps already taken. That means it's going to be the Red Raptors and the Gromp is what Sejuani tends to do. Will be looking to go towards the mid lane where they will then have options as to which Scuttlecrab they're going to go for without a whole lot of time loss.
Still seems to be staying towards that top side. You do have Jose Dioto already going for the bot lane gank underneath the tower. A lot of risk to do. Already showing it. They're showing their hand. The teleport's coming out from both teams as the engage. We're ready to start. Here comes Palafox. First blood is going to go over to Katsuri, however. 1-for-1 trade so far. ADC going to go down for Counter Logic Gaming as they try and survive this fight. Going after Jose Dioto. RJS is going to be able to grab the kill. Going forward. Looking for more. It's going to be Hooks. Johnson will fall. Another auto comes through. Palafox going to eat one more. Everyone dies. No survivors in the bot lane after that fight between CLG and FlyQuest.
Wow, alright, FlyQuest, remember what we said? CLG were able to turn around some of the plays coming out from FlyQuest. This looks very similar to their previous bot lane dive, and because Keel was too far away, going to be picking up the bottom side Scuttlecrab and also running towards the top side. So getting 2 Scuttles off of this is actually a pretty significant time advantage coming in for CLG because Keel is not spending any time in the respawn fountain. So FlyQuest putting themselves a little bit on the back foot as we watch this go through again. This is a very difficult combination of champions to dive, especially with Akali coming through. You notice that there's not a lot of proactive crowd control at the very beginning of the game, and so Dreams just has to walk under turret and auto attack people, and then they try and get something on the backside, but they put a lot more damage into Akali's second part of the E. They just have enough damage left over to find the kill and turn things around, and Palafox with no haymaker left ends up just going down to the turret as his arm falls off.
Well, everyone goes down to that exchange, but CLG going to come out slightly ahead as FlyQuest did bring one more member to that fight than CLG were able to. Stealing away the jungle camps is going to be Jose Dioto. We get that Raptor camp, rotate back out with Palafox, just kind of having this mid-jungle synergy going on. The Drake does hit the map right now.
Be surprised if either team went for it immediately, but Jose Dioto is going to be actually equalizing, and he is somehow ahead of Keel at this point in terms of his farming. So Keel looking to come over. Not going to spot him just quite yet, but I think he's just going to hop this wall in just a second, which could be really dangerous. He's bringing over the Akali.
Trying to hop over. Hasn't done it yet. Golem's being taken. Keel coming in a little bit slow. Setting up for the tower dive. I don't think Jose Dioto knows that Keel and RJS are here. 4 members strong is going to be CLG as they commit to this tower dive, going right after Jose Dioto. He'll be taken down quickly. The end with a slither of health remains.
Wow.
He will be able to survive. It's going to be 2 down. Counter logic. They execute that beautifully.
That was way better than what FlyQuest did on the opposite side. So now, how much are they going to be trading back? They're up 1,000 gold right now, but at least one plate going down in the mid lane. Teleports here from Philip, but he's not going to have an opportunity to try and kill RJS on the Akali at this point. Teleport comes out in the bottom lane, so CLG denying everything potentially coming through from FlyQuest. So this is a pretty good advantage. It's 700 gold, but it's still not nothing, which is a major part of CLG potentially having success in this game.
Tien taking that teleport towards the bot lane, instantly going to roam back up top, but that teleport helped out Katsiri so much, who was getting zoned off that minion wave. You saw Dreams deep over by the golems trying to watch where Katsiri was going. Johnson just free farming. It is a breath of air for Katsiri at least, and smart move to come out of FlyQuest. Tien burning the teleport to be able to deal with that, having to walk all the way back top, and even then returns to a lane that's frozen right in front of Philip's tower.
It's going to be a very dangerous position for Philip in a couple of moments, right? It's not frozen at this point. It's going to be slow pushing, and it is a pretty big difference. Stun misses, yeah. Not going to get jumped on just quite yet, but they need to know where Sejuani is for Philip to feel safe really crashing this wave. And if he can do that, if he can figure out where Heal is at any given moment, maybe he can do this a little bit more safely, but it's also difficult to try and get that vision right now when you're the one who is pushed back your own turret.
Here we go, underneath the tower, Hook. Trying to defend the shots from Johnson. Going to draw no attention towards the Dragon Pit. Jose Deodo will be able to solo that, no problem, giving Infernal over to FlyQuest Academy. Even though they do have the deficit right now, still standing stronger on the map with the way they're positioning, with the way they're rotating, the way they're establishing vision. See what else they can do with it. You now have Kill going over towards the Raptor camp of Jose Deodo. A word to come out, Jose Deodo able to throw out the Q, but does know that Kill's there, not going to risk it.
Okay, it is going to be a pretty simple situation of only about a 600 gold lead. Jose Deodo is going to go for this, and Kill will get spotted. So Philip, he's going to have to go down a decent amount of CS in order to make sure that he doesn't fall. And look at this freeze that Tien is setting up. He's going to need help if Philip is going to do anything try and upset this, and now we're starting to see this Rift Herald getting started. A lot of members are already here, including Johnson.
Yeah, but they realize Philip is completely out of position. He doesn't have flash, so he doesn't have a chance to be able to escape this one. Tien will take that easily. Retaliation now as FlyQuest start going after RJS, buying time with the Shroud. Goes right after Palafox, but the RKO coming in, throws RJS right back to the Wolves. A shutdown for Johnson. Being able to pick up that one, get that Aphelios going.
Alright, Aphelios has gotten 3 kills at this point. The gold lead is less than 1,000 between the two teams, and FlyQuest are the ones who feel confident to actually hit theirs. There's no ultimate on the hooks just quite yet. He's only level 5, and they also don't have an ultimate coming out from Tien. He already used it in the top lane, so Rift Herald going to be going over to FlyQuest while they have a gold deficit.
Great position for FlyQuest to be able to make up that gold deficit, take some of those plates, and get some advantages on the map. They're having great responses, and even when they're reactive to CLG, they're quick to pull the trigger off of CLG's aftermath of their plays and punish them outright. That was beautiful to see on the back end, especially with that showstopper coming out of Palafox at a great time on RJS.
There's definitely no issue. I want to highlight something that Palafox does here in a moment as we watch Philip go down, but you have to remember that Akali, the first part of the ultimate needs to be targeted on somebody, so you do have to kind of go in for the fight, and you see the first one used, but watch how Palafox actually walks backwards here. He wants to make sure that his ultimate will be pulling Akali back into the rest of the team, rather than giving Akali more distance between everyone. So Palafox backing up immediately to deny any escape routes from RJS means that they are guaranteed a kill up against the Akali, whereas a little bit in question prior.
And a nice kill indeed. That did go over to Johnson, who got a shutdown on that when RJS was doing pretty well in lane. That is a definite way to slow down the momentum of someone who can be so prominent when it comes to the map and assassinations. Very tough champion to be able to lay down. So good start coming out of FlyQuest to start at least patching the wounds of the early game.
Well, they're still down about 1,000 gold at this point. There's a lot of plates that have fallen all across the map, but the Rift Herald is currently in Jose Deodo's pocket, so he gets to decide where he wants to bring this. Philip, is having a little bit of a tougher time right now up against Tien's Irelia than he did up against Tien's Viego. Viego coming down. There's no invisibility on this Viego for a little bit, so this could be a very dangerous spot.
Ooh, there comes out the ultimate, but Philip's able to return it. Just to get some distance away from Kill. Now over the wall is going to be Jose Deodo. The flash from Kill to get in a position for the blast plant to be able to put him to safety.
Oh, Jose.
But safety is not exactly what he's found just yet. Needs hooks to get there to be able to provide some backup. Katsuri is going to show up as well. Jose Deodo and Philip, they're just marching right into the jungle of CLG. Caution thrown to the wind. Let's see if we get the counter engage. Here it comes. Tien over the wall, goes right after Jose Deodo. Chunks him out, lower he goes. Sub 100.
Oh, Johnson!
He will fall. Tien gets dropped, and Jose Deodo survives. Now Kill trying to get out of there as RJS is able to show up. Sees a bunch of low health bars, thinks it's time for a feast. Goes after Jose Deodo, gets the double kill. Meanwhile, on the back line, you see another one go down as Hooks falls to Philip. RJS will get dropped by Johnson. Now Katsuri tries to get away from the remaining members of FlyQuest, but that haymaker in the face will make sure he doesn't get away with an ace coming out for FlyQuest.
FlyQuest are now going to be in a gold lead after these plates go down. They're going to be in a spot where they're going to be bringing members first to the party for this upcoming Dragon, giving them their second one of the game. Huge wave crashing here as well as Palafox is going to get the fourth plate off the mid lane turret. You see that they have a small gold lead, but it's not nothing. So they're going to be in a really good spot after reacting to CLG's collapse and the counter collapse coming in from FlyQuest. I can't wait to see the replay. Oh, there it is.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, there it is. Hooks goes in, or has to try and get out, and Tien is the one who thinks he spots an opportunity for Jose Deodo going a bit too far. And with everybody coming into this fight, you have to notice that nobody is hitting Johnson. He gets off a huge ultimate, and it buys a lot of time, but we got to go to a fight right in live.
Tien getting pulled back in, tries to slip away on the opposite end, but there's nowhere else for him to go. It is a mousetrap, and Johnson is able to get kill number 6 of the game. 6-1-4 thus far. This Aphelios is popping up as Shelly hits the rift.
Hey, Viego in a little bit of a tough position on the opposite side of the map. Keel and Hooks trying to stop the turret from going down, and they will save the last plate, but it's still 4 plates going over to Johnson and Jose Deodo, and I'm not sure that they are in a particularly safe position. We see both Dreams and Palafox wandering over.
You got to make the move now if you're CLG. Palafox working his way right on over as the teleport starts to come out, but Johnson is going to be able to kill before the teleport even completes. Meanwhile, RJS in the bot lane able to take down Philip. Jose Deodo low. Tien will be able to feast on that one. Gets a double kill in an instant, but the rest of the squad of FlyQuest is able to clean up the rest of CLG and make this top lane fight a victory.
Okay, Johnson is huge though. 8-1-5 now on the Aphelios. Yes, Katsuri is getting some damage on the mid lane turret. Yes, he's getting some gold, but it's nowhere near as much as this Aphelios is going to get. And so far, we haven't seen an answer to Johnson on this Aphelios. He's been able to free hit a number of fights so far. So if that's going to be the trend that we're seeing, where nobody's hitting this Aphelios, the Kalista will do nowhere near as much damage.
All right, I'm waiting for this recall, Joshi. Johnson's netted so much gold. He got a bunch of plates. He got a bunch of kills. Let's see what he's able to finish off. I already see the Runin's Hurricane.
All right. Well, it looks like that might just be it. It looks like he's holding off for just a little bit more. An entire BF sword.
BF sword. No problem.
That makes a bit more sense.
Jump change, Joshi. Jump change.
Jump change. Who needs that? I'm a little bit surprised that he's opting to go for that instead of the Lord Dominic's, simply because you do at some point have to cut through all the armor that Sejuani is going to have, but we'll take another look at this fight because it is an interesting situation. Jose doesn't have a lot of mana, doesn't have his ultimate, and so they're just going to be hitting a couple of big tanky members, but look at all the chakrams coming through. Every single auto attack does so much damage, and even though Tien is able to get this couple of kills, just look how quickly he's torn apart by all the auto attacks coming through from Johnson. The white gun, the chakrams, absolutely nuts in these close range situations.
How do you stop this, man? It's going to be a tall task to be able to get onto that backline and stop Johnson from free firing onto the squad of CLG. FlyQuest, they go straight for the Dragon. They know there's no chance that CLG are going to be able to take it, so Dragon number 2 of the game going to be a Cloud that will be taken into FlyQuest's pocket as well as that bot lane tower.
Oh, its mid lane turret is also just a gentle breeze away from going down, so FlyQuest very close to opening up the map, and it was a little bit longer in the fight, or in this game, that it took FlyQuest to start building up this lead, but now that they're starting to do it, it's becoming difficult for CLG to make proactive plays. But this was closer than game 1 so far. It's not over. It's not over. It's already closer than what we saw in game 1.
Closer, but still a rough situation. It's 3-0 in turrets, your favorite. 2-0 in dragons, your favorite again. Even though we are evened up in kills, you gotta remember, where is all the FlyQuest gold allocated? Johnson, that is a win condition right there.
And now they're going to be walking over to this Rift Herald. It's going to be rather difficult for CLG to mount a defense of this at all, and they're not even going to try. Maybe they get a couple of camps, but Keel is going to be clearing out some vision because their bottom side of the map is absolutely littered with FlyQuest wards. And yeah, they're not even going to be able to walk over and try and take away a blue buff. This is just a free Rift Herald picked up for FlyQuest.
No contention coming out of CLG. It feels like they're starting to fall more and more on the back foot. You have hooks coming over towards the blue side jungle of CLG, but it just seems for looks at this point. It doesn't really look like CLG can get on the map. FlyQuest are just controlling the Rift right now. They have so much deep vision on the red side jungle of CLG, trying to establish a little bit of it over on the blue side jungle that's now getting swept out by a lot of members of CLG. Not many places for them to hide.
Map is getting smaller. The world is getting smaller for CLG. Shoved into their own side of the base, and I mean, we've seen how aggressive Jose Deodo is. He has flashes up. Katsuri gets in range. Wouldn't be surprised if he just pulls the trigger.
Even with an 0-4-9 scoreline, he's still very much a threat. Been really involved in a lot of the plays that FlyQuest have been able to make.
He's
That's
farming
exactly
too.
Yeah, he's farming really well. Now
Yeah.
looking for more. Tries to throw that Q after hooks, but will be able to sidestep it. Now Palafox free in the top lane to free farm as much as he pleases. Tien just getting that reset, trying to return to his squad mate.
Maybe a touch earlier for them to start going into the jungle, right? They hadn't yet pushed out the waves. They aren't really threatening to do anything in this jungle, but they are potentially catching RJS.
Here we go. Jose Deodo over the wall, going to pull RJS right back in. RJS going to use the Shroud, tries to find a good old slippery escape. Will be able to get a chunk of damage onto Jose Deodo and gets underneath the tower to the safety of CLG. FlyQuest, they tried the play. It was a good attempt. Not going to work out, but now they got the wave shoved in. They got the Rift Herald down. They're ready to continue the siege. Look at Palafox.
Oh,
He's over on the
God.
sidelines. Hooks goes in, tries to find the engage, but there's no way to get the backup in. Now Palafox wants to dive in, gets the showstopper onto RJS. RJS immediately has to back off, and Palafox is just bullying every single member of CLG he sees. Now Shelly charges forward, going after the inhibitor tower. Another charge to come in, and another tower bites the dust. FlyQuest are attacking the inhibitors, and CLG cannot fight back. They're struggling to find an answer. RJS is too low, needs to get to the fountain, but CLG are so desperate to defend as a Nexus tower goes down and Kill gets melted. Philip goes in, taking the ghost of Kill, gonna use that form for a little bit, get CLG lower, get them more distracted, get them disoriented. As FlyQuest, they put a battle line on the floor and say, CLG, I dare you to cross it, brother. I dare you to come onto this side and face the power that is FlyQuest. Question is, will CLG be able to do anything to stop the onslaught coming out of FlyQuest as they go for the end right now? Out comes the Haymaker. Palafox not able to land it. RJS wants to punish, and that's exactly what he'll do as he'll get the shutdown onto Palafox. Now FlyQuest, they're realizing they bit off way too much, more than they could chew. Going after RJS, who's able to slip away. Now here comes Jose Deodo, able to get 3 members of CLG. Gonna make it more as Phillips able to make it a 1-for-1 in this trade. The end gets low. Kill gets low. Down CLG. Go! RJS and hooks with the defense of a lifetime to be able to stop this from being a 2-0. It's not looking likely, baby. Down goes hooks. RJS, here's your last stand. Make it count because your Nexus is exposed. Jose Deodo, no! There's the ace. There is your first place squad. FlyQuest destroying CLG.
Improving to a 75% win rate so far on the season. That is absolutely crazy watching them move through CLG. And this one, it looked closer, but FlyQuest eventually wakes up and they're like, oh yeah, we're pretty good at this game. Let's just win everything from here on out. It was just lights out for CLG from that moment on. And man, when you give Johnson that much gold, the man knows how to use it.
Oh, most definitely. That's the one thing that popped out throughout this entire match. FlyQuest kept fighting. The kills were relatively even. The gold, kind of even. Johnson in his difference versus Katsuri. That gold, no match whatsoever. And as I said, that is a win condition to get that FLYA scaling into the late game.
This honestly is my only real criticism of how FlyQuest played throughout today is they went for a couple dives that were greedy at best and very difficult to execute, right? This is one of the two. It's a 4 versus 3 underneath the turret at only 3.5 minutes. Very difficult to do, but ultimately they're able to just get it. They create this imbalance in the position where you have a lot of gold on specific members. They get Johnson a little bit more fed and they give some gold over to Palafox, and once you have these small local advantages, you can convert them into much larger advantages across the map. So it's an odd decision that I think that they can probably do without, but once they have it, after that, I don't think there's anything really that they've done particularly wrong that is a major issue that they need to work on.
Man, there were so many star players coming out from the squad of FlyQuest in this last game. I keep giving my hats off to Philip because he did his best to stand up to Tien, and he did a damn good job with it. Even though Tien was able to get some good plays off here and there, you saw that double kill that came off. It was just relentless from both Philip, from both Johnson, from the rest of the squad of FlyQuest Academy to set up play after play, dive after dive to stifle everything that CLG did. Another member that I want to point out is Palafox, because a lot of his timings were beautiful. Right here, you see Palafox setting right up for the flank, makes you sure that there's not much of an exit that CLG can really take.
There's also, a little bit of criticism towards CLG, right? Because Hooks went in for that fight before RJS could return to the lane. And because you just start the fight 4v5 when you're already down a big chunk of gold, it becomes very difficult for them to win. But yeah, I love the way that Palafox was able to play this set. He was consistently doing his job and making sure there was no possibility of escape for the members of CLG. And FlyQuest, maintain their spot at the top of the table with effectively 2 separate rosters as we're looking towards the last week of the Academy season. 8 weeks out of 9 so far, and they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can really stop them at this point. They do have some pretty good competition we had mentioned earlier in Team Liquid Academy and Evil Geniuses Academy, but yeah, I mean, it's way too hard right now. It's really hard to stop this momentum. Just looking at the kills, not looking at the kills, looking at the game scores themselves, yeah, Team Liquid pretty much just have to get 4 straight in a row and hope that FlyQuest flounder pretty much every match they have. That's a tough, tall task to have when you see performances coming like this out of FlyQuest Academy.
We also have to remember, though, that this was against CLG, who has been struggling throughout this summer split, and I think this is something that FlyQuest can really do something. In order to talk a little bit more about the success, we actually have FlyQuest coach Sharks coming through. Had an opportunity to play or coach this team as an LCS squad, and now that they're in Academy, he's going to continue doing his job. How are you doing today, Sharks?
After such a fiesta game, I would say, especially game 2. It's been pretty fun to watch towards the guys and how they play and how they execute the game around the failures. So doing pretty well. Happy with 4-0 this week.
Okay, first things first, I know you've been coaching this team for a while. I see you originally worked as the assistant coach for the LCS squad, now going from LCS to Academy. How does the vibe really feel in competition and the way everything really does play out?
I mean, we pretty much have the same roster that we have in LCS, right? Just besides Eric Licorice is now in Golden Guardians, and we got Philip. So we're just working on our team play, working on the vibes, working on how we should use each other more in order to win the game. So let's say what we are trying to do is just set up a clear win condition who is supposed to win the game. Let's say in this game, it was Diana and Aphelios, since Diana kind of fell behind because of the early game dive and Aphelios got kills. So it was mostly around Johnson, and everybody needs to play for him, die for him in team fights, give him all the gold, give him all the towers. So we're just trying to make sure we understand who is supposed to carry the game and make sure we have a clear game plan around him.
So with that in mind, I mean, you guys have already been a lock for playoffs since the beginning of the day, where we know you're going to be making it the top 6, and you are going to be looking towards the postseason. How does that really change your mindset now that you're going on to stage games? Are you still just no, we got to win every game, or is it allowing you to be a bit more experimental?
Honestly, we didn't care too much about result in these games. We're just kind of trying to show on our tournament matches what we've been working in practice and trying to implement stuff we've been working in practice, especially strong side bot, playing around bot lane, playing champions like Kalista, Kalista Felios, or somewhere, let's say, looking to carry through soul lanes, AD soul lanes, especially, if this champion Bomberman Ziggs is open, and you can just wave clear everything 1 vs 5 and have some fun. Johnson loves playing this champ, or at least that's what he tells me. Yeah, we're just taking one step at a time and just using the tournament matches as a test to see if we succeed with the stuff we've been working in practice.
Okay, so coming up next in week number 9, you do have Team Liquid and Evil Geniuses. Are any of these teams giving you any worry, or do you think this is easy, this is swept, this is completely done?
I think nothing is easy. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know our schedule. I don't know who we're facing next week, but since you said it's EJ Academy, there's my good friend Pavel Pirkovsky. Oh, sorry, Pavel Patrick Pirkovsky, Mystiquez, who I've been working with for quite some time in 2 teams in Europe. So it will always be fun to match him on tournament match. Sorry, like on stage. Especially we had some scrims recently with EJ Academy, and I would say they'll be pretty fun. If stage match gonna be played in similar style as our scrims were, you guys and viewers will have a lot of fun watching it. So I'm extremely excited for the EG series. I think their mid laner is pretty great. Contracts is now they're not gonna have contracts, right? So they're gonna have Tomio, but Jojo Pill and Mystics will make this game fun. So I'm excited to see how Dreams and Palafox will match it.
All right, well, we want to thank you so much for joining us, Sharks. Thank you for the insight, and good luck in your upcoming games.
Thank you.
All right, a dominant performance right there, Joshi. 2-0, quick, to the point, and with a lot of style points in that playbook.
Yeah, a bit of a fiesta, like Shark said. A little bit bloodier than I think we were initially expecting, but they were able to bring it back and just play a much more consistent style as the latter stages of the game came through. So I'm excited to see what FlyQuest have ready for us in the postseason, because they're going to be going to playoffs and proving grounds. They'll be able to play up against all the top amateur teams as well.
By the way, Joshi, he said Mystiquest. Not crazy.
I know.
Not crazy.
I know, but...
It is what it is. We got to move on to the next game. We're going to throw it to a short break. When we return, we'll get into just that with Dignitas Academy versus Cloud9 Academy. Be sure to stay tuned.